All right, so now we're going to start talking about writing equations. So, just going to move this up. So this is assuming this is the information you're given. You're given the information about vertices, right? Your vertices refer to your A, and your vertices are also going to tell you, is this hyperbola horizontal or vertical? So you should draw a rough graph and graph these, right? Because if this gives you a horizontal line, it's going to be horizontal. If it gives you a vertical line, it'll be vertical, right? That's how simple it is. You just have to graph the vertices, and you'll be able to tell if it's horizontal or vertical, and then you can tell whether your X comes first or your Y comes first. So I did start graphing this, and let's talk about what I've graphed. So when I graphed the 20 and -8, this graph is counting by units of 5, so 5, 10, 15, 20. Just a really rough graph. When I graphed 20, -8, and -4, -8, it gave me this line. Since it gave me this line, my graph is going to open up just like that, which means X has to come first. If it's a horizontal hyperbola, if it opens up left and right, X comes first. And if X comes first, Y comes second. Now, in terms of figuring out your center is really easy. Your center is going to be the midpoint of your vertices, or the midpoint of the endpoints that are on your conjugate axis. Regardless, take these points and find the midpoint. So 20 plus -4 gives you 16, and then that divided by 2 is 8. -8 plus -8 is -16. -16 divided by 2, -8. So that's how I figured out my center. I literally just found the midpoint of these two lines. Now, when I want to figure out my A and my A refers to the vertices. So what is the length of this line, right? Because the length of this line divided by 2, half of it, is going to tell me what my A is. You could also just do it like this, right? So from 20 to -4, so from 20 to -4, that's a total of 24 units. 24 divided by 2 is 12. Or count it out, doesn't matter. Now your B is referring to the conjugate axis, right? So it's a total of 16 units. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Now when we're plugging it into the formula, A squared, B squared, always hyperbolas, right? A squared always comes first. So 12 squared is 144. 8 squared, 64. We already explained why X comes first and Y comes second. It's a horizontal hyperbola, right? But now I'm just using my center. So since this is a +8, my X value is a +8. -8 goes in here. And since this was a -8, +8. And that is it. That's how you write an equation given this kind of information. All right. The next one looks exactly the same, just a little bit different. So you always have to figure out what your center, your A, and your B are, because that's how you plug in this information. There are other things you need to figure out first, but again, I like to draw a little bit of a rough draft. So -8, +4. I'm going to count by 5s again on this graph. It does not matter what you count by on your graph. I'm just counting by 5s because I want to make this graph as quickly as possible. So -8, +4. -8 up 4. Now -8, -14. Connect these two. What kind of line is this? It is vertical, right? That means that my hyperbola is going to open up and down, which means Y is coming first. If it opens up and down vertically with the Y-axis, Y comes first. All right, figuring out my center. My center is going to be the midpoint of these 2 points. What is -8 plus -8? -16. -16 divided by 2, -8. 4 plus -14 is -10. What's -10 divided by 2? -5. All right, now when I'm plugging this center, because don't forget, this is always -k, -h, depending on what formula you're using. This is your h, this is your k, or this is your x, this is your y. So the -5 has to go with the y value. Change the sign, becomes +5, and your x value has to go with the x in here. So this becomes plus 8. We're almost done, right? You just need to figure out what's your a squared and what's your b squared. So your a goes along with the vertices. So the length of this entire thing from positive 4 down to negative 14, that's a total of 18 units, right? So what is 18 divided by 2? 9. What is 9 squared? 81. That's it. Now B, that's referring to your conjugate axis, which is 22 units long. Half of that, 11. The squared, 121. Done. All right, last one. This one's a little bit different. You're given the vertices and the endpoints of the conjugate axis. So instead of them telling you how long it was, you have to figure it out. And they're telling you that this is a horizontal hyperbola. So pause the video, give it a shot. All right, and that's it. For this one, I didn't draw a graph because I didn't need to, right? When we draw the graph, we're trying to see if it's vertical or horizontal. It tells me it's horizontal, so I know x is going to come first. My center, you figure out using the midpoint formula. Negative 1 plus 5 is 4, divided by 2, 2. 3 plus 3 is 6, divided by 2, 3. And you could have even used this one, right? What's 2 plus 2? 4, divided by 2, 2. 1 plus 5, 6, divided by 2, 3. Didn't matter which ones you used. I figured out that this one was 6 units long, which makes your A 3. 4 units long, B is 2. Square them, you're done.